Good morning. So, just mentioned, my name's Chris Edge. I am the Customer Success Director at SLI Systems. We look after clients, we onboard them, we train them in our merchandising console, and we look after them through the life cycle of the time that they're with SLI. Now, I know kind of the conferences like this, that the worst thing you ever want to hear is audience participation. I'm just going to ask a few questions. All I'm looking for is a show of hands. The first one, who's ever heard of SLI Systems? A couple, more than last year, so well done to our marketing team. For those that don't know about us, we are predominantly known as an on-site search company. So we power the search box on your site. So if you're looking for a certain product, we're responsible for the products that come back. But we're not just a search company. We have a whole host of other products around there. So we have things like recommendations. We have an A/B split testing tool. Lots of other things that we actually then put together as part of a buyer engine. We have a full platform. We take lots of streams of your data. We put it through our learning engine, and we output our products on the other side. Now, the outcome of that is that we generate more site traffic, we convert more shoppers into buyers, and we maximize order values. So that's kind of SLI. I'm not actually going to talk anymore about SLI. That's kind of the sales pitch out of the way. We are at stand G31 if you want to come and talk to us more. And the reason that we ask, have you ever heard of us? Although you haven't heard of us, you've probably actually used our software. We're probably the best kept secret in e-commerce, unfortunately, because if you've used a search on kind of any of these clients, you've certainly used our software, and if you've hit the recommendations or anything like that, you've certainly interacted with us. So we do work with quite a lot of high-end UK customers. So what I want to talk about what I'm going to talk about is why search is important, what you can do with regards to optimizing your search and generating more revenue. All of the things I'm going to talk about you can do with SLI's tools, some of which will be transferable to your site. So give you a little bit of food for thought. We're going to look at some best practices and that type of thing. So why is search important? The people who search on your site are your most valuable customers. So again, a bit of audience participation. Who believes that statement? A few of you, not too many, but luckily you don't have to take the word of a guy that works for a company that sells on-site search. Google Analytics will actually tell you all of this. There's a section within Google Analytics, if you go to site search and usage and click on e-commerce, there's actually a dedicated section here that splits out people who search on your site to people that don't. And we always benchmark our clients when they first come on to SLI. And without doing anything at all with regards to optimization, you should see people that search convert at a higher rate, they spend more on average, and their per visit value is higher. If you go to your analytics now and you're not seeing statistics like that people who search are your most valuable customers, you definitely do need to come and see us. And one of the things that we run into quite a lot when we first start speaking to people is, I do a search on my site and I find products. There's nothing wrong with my search. And that's generally because you are very close to your product as e-commerce managers and merchandisers. You will do things like you'll search for a dress and I get dresses back. But what happens when I move away from that individual search keyword? So this is real data that we've collected from a customer. So what happens if I search for beach dress or sequin dress or military dress? These are the longer tail, very highly searched keywords. Your Google Analytics, you'll look at your top 100 keywords, they're all very dull. The thousands and thousands, the 80% more of the keywords that you've got are more longer tail, more specific. So how does your search work with that? And the other thing is the key to relevancy. So how important is relevancy? Hands up who thinks this is a rabbit. It's not a trick question. It's a rabbit. It's called a rabbit. It's got long ears. Who thinks that's a rabbit? Couple. So even if you match that keyword directly, depending on what happens on your search box, can have a wildly different effect on what kind of comes back. And this was a real example we had with an SLI customer. They were normally in pharmaceuticals. They sold some sexual health products. They expanded into sex toys. They had the warehousing capabilities. They expanded into kind of pet food. And we kind of got a call from their e-commerce director who'd had half an hour on the telephone with the mother of a daughter who was looking for rabbit food and kind of saw all of this. So we instantly kind of developed a kind of a safe search. If we are going to bring back, the naughty products, you need to click to accept it. So what can some of these statistics tell you about your site search and how you interpret it? So when you're looking at your top searches and that type of thing, it can start to help you identify new opportunities. So we've got things like sheds. If 184 people are searching for that a day and you don't actually sell that, this is information you can start to take to your buying team. People are coming to your site, they're giving you buying intent about keywords and products that you don't sell. So maybe I should be increasing stock of this. It can also help you kind of spot trends in the market. And I don't want you to kind of think, we talk about SLI sex toys, but we do, if you have bought a sex toy in the UK in the past 3 or 4 years, we have kind of got quite a few customers in that arena, and we do power the search for some of that clients. Now, an actual example of what happened with one client is they were looking at their search term data, and they were starting to get keywords that they didn't understand, and kind of gradually ramping up, odd keywords that they'd never seen before. They put it out to their marketing team, and they said, what's going on here? One of those had read the book 50 Shades of Grey. It was all words that were related to that. They then spotted an opportunity in the market. They approached the publishers. They're the worldwide distributors of the 50 Shades of Grey. That's a different book. 50 Shades of Grey sex toys. So they've identified that opportunity. They've seen that through their site search, and they've made a business case through it. Things like the top pages from search. So we know that people that search convert at a high rate. So of all the people that are landing on these pages from search, what can that tell me? Well, if they're not converting, is there something wrong with the product? Is it getting continually bad reviews? Am I price competitive? Do I need to change the product description? Because if people are looking for these products and not buying them from search, then there's probably something wrong with it, with the offering that you're looking at. When you follow keywords through to kind of conversion, this can be really useful. So if we know certain keywords on your site are generating revenue, if you are bidding for those keywords on Google on your PPC campaign, this is real data from a client of ours that sells laptops and electronics. They were spending a fortune bidding on Sony and Dell and Vio and all of that with everybody else, really high price keywords. But when they looked at this data, they saw that people who were searching for things like white laptops and pink netbooks were actually converting. So they diverted their bid spend to these lesser spend keywords, knowing that when they get them to their site, people that use these keywords actually convert. And the same type of language that people use on Google is the same type of language that they will use on your internal search. So this is really useful data. SLI, we have a report that says search with poor results. Now, lots of people say, I look at the 0 results page and we get a report on that. Well, that can happen if you type any kind of nonsense into your search term. What we tend to look at is if people are searching for keywords, we're bringing products back, but they have a less than a 10% threshold, then we know there's something wrong with that result set. So, if people are looking for mobile phones and phone covers, do we carry the product? If people are searching for gifts, well, can I divert them off to a better gifts landing page? if kind of you are going to kill somebody today, the best place to hide their body is the second page of Google, because nobody ever goes there. And it's the same type of thing for your site search. Once you get out of that, top 5 or 6 products, people are losing interest. So if you're bringing, as we are here, lots of products back, then we should start to think about, doing a bit more intelligent guiding. And is it actually named something else? So I may have 100 trainers on my site. If somebody comes on and searches for sneakers, they get a 0 results. They're off to one of your competitors. So start to think about synonyms and how they can work. So a couple of examples of kind of best practice. At SLI, we have rather than give somebody a 0 results page, when we detect somebody has misspelled a word, we'll sense check that against the data that we've got. We'll try and pattern match to particular terms. So here I've misspelled the word tomato, I've kind of put too many O's in it, but our spelling checker said, well, I'm just about to bring a 0 results back. That's kind of bad, especially if I've got a very close pattern matching. So did I mean tomato? And you've all seen this on Google. Yes, I've kind of got fat fingers. You only have to kind of know generally how to spell a word these days, and something will auto-correct it. That's exactly the same for your site search. When you do get that 0 results, I really like this example. So next, they've given you the keyword that you search for. They've given you some suggestions. They're giving you guidance on where to go. They've given you another search box. So search again from the no results page. They've also given you links to their top level categories. So you can go immediately back to menswear, to children's wear, keep them on the page, keep them engaged. That 0 results page, all of a sudden they've abandoned your search, they're off to Google, and they're looking at your competitors. Great example from Jigsaw. Now, Jigsaw clothing, they're kind of a brand of clothes that people stay with for a long time. So, you will buy, as a woman, you'll buy your first business dress for your first job with Jigsaw. You'll work your way through them. You become a dedicated multiple buyer of their products. You then get married, you're pregnant, you go back to Jigsaw. They don't have a specific maternity range. Before they were working with SLI, anybody searching for maternity would have got a 0 results page. They'd be off to kind of their competitors. They don't have a maternity range, but what they do have are kind of shrugs and shawls and things like that can actually be used as cover for people who are pregnant. So what they've done here, we don't have a specific maternity collection, but they've tuned these results into this page so that rather than giving that 0 results, they've got a chance to come back, re-merchandise it to them, keep them on the site. And they could put accessories and all kinds of things in here as well. If you've detected the keyword and it's relevant to specific content on your site, then take them directly there. So here we've done a search for gift wrapping. I know I'm not looking for products here. I'm looking for a service that we offer. So actually redirect them to that page. Send them to where they're looking for. And that's great, except if the product that they are looking for, you actually sell. So here in Go Outdoors, if somebody's going to the Peak District, they may be looking for maps around Sheffield, that type of thing. So rather than just send them off to their Sheffield store, we've given them a banner here, did you mean our Sheffield store? We're also then showing products that are relevant to that keyword as well. So always be a little bit careful when you're redirecting people to other pages. Now, trends and multi-channel. Not everything that happens on your website is an effect of what you are doing online. And we came into this scenario in the summer of 2010, but it's still kind of pretty relevant now. Now, this girl here is called Ashley Carriggs. At the time, she was 22 years old. She lives just outside of Boston in Massachusetts. A social networking site called Twitter has just started to become popular. She decided to sign up, and probably the most important thing a 20-something girl can think about when they're on the social media is what is my Twitter handle going to be? Her name's Ashley. Her boyfriend calls her the Ashes, so that's what she takes. She takes that handle. Now, for those that don't know, in international cricket, every 2 years, England and Australia have a series of tests against each other. Now, in 1882, somehow Australia managed to beat England for the first time. The English press couldn't quite believe this. It was a national disgrace, and a mock obituary was put in a national newspaper lamenting the death of English cricket. They couldn't believe they could ever lose to Australia. Now, this had become quite popular in the kind of the Australian press, and 2 years later an Australian team went out there and they, as the kind of the legend goes, they were presented with the urn that you can see here. The ashes of the previous wicket were put in this urn, and it was presented to the English team. Ever since then, England and Australia play for what's known as the Ashes. Now, Ashley's got a new smartphone. She's for the past 6 months, she's a childminder. She tweets things about childminding. She's an avid knitter. She tweets things about that. All of a sudden, her smartphone starts beeping. All times of the day, she's getting message after message after message. How's Tim Bresnan bowling? Where can I buy tickets? You know, all things to do with cricket, which she's got no idea about. She's really had enough. She's getting waken up 24 hours a day. And she sends this tweet. She says, "Come on, guys, I'm not a freaking cricket match. Give over with this." So the internet being the internet, we think that kind of Twitter's the Wild West now. We go crazy on this. So this gets retweeted 787 times. It's favorited 90 times. All of a sudden, Ashley's now got 15,000 followers on Twitter. This is kind of back in the day, 2010. She's probably rivaling Stephen Fry and the likes of that. So the internet community, they kind of have a laugh and a bit of a joke about this girl that's kind of got caught up in this. But an interesting thing starts to happen. Somebody thinks, wouldn't it be great if we could get Ashley out to the Ashes? And Get the Ashes to the Ashes begins to trend. And this starts to pick a bit of traction up. It gets picked up in the media. And Ashley, all of a sudden, she's not too taken aback by cricket anymore, especially when Qantas get involved. They see a great opportunity here on this new social media. They offer to fly her out to Australia. And as you can see, she's the guest of honour in the Sydney Test match. She meets the Prime Minister at the time. She's interviewed on the BBC. You can't move in Australia. She's on daytime TV. She's on the radio. What a great story this is. And every time it's mentioned about Ashley, it's mentioned that Qantas fly her out there. You can imagine their PR department, you know, in Darling Harbour, clicking champagne glasses together, saying, "What a brilliant thing we've done. We've actually hit the nail on the head here. How good are we?" But they forgot to tell the website. They forgot to tell the site search that anybody coming to their site looking for the Ashes. We're bringing things back about volcanoes and delays and that type of thing, but they've had a global reach in America, in the States, and that type of thing, of people that will be coming to their site on the PR that they've generated, and they've kind of missed a trick here by not covering this up. Now, I could see a few of you there were wondering how I was going to bring that back to site search then, but I looked at Ashley's Twitter. She's still got 7,500 followers. She has an Etsy store that she knits cricket balls on, gets a spike in conversion every couple of years. So she's done all right out of it. And again, if you're mentioned in other publications, so we had one client mentioned in Grazia magazine, people will start to come all of a sudden driven from that content. So make sure that your site search is aware of what's happening there. Now, all of this is good, but how effective are the changes that you make? And at SLI, we have a full A/B split testing platform, and we encourage our users to use that. So what kind of things can you start to test? So just typical things, list versus grid. Here's an eBay page. I've searched for an Apple laptop. Here in list view, I've got 4 products. I've got prices. I've got things about postage. If I change to grid view, I've now got 4812 above the fold. I'm seeing more products. What kind of effect could that have on my actual conversion, especially considering that, you know, the first 5 or 6 products are the most critical on your site? So, yeah, okay, for laptops and visual things, what if so here I've got an example of Wix. I've searched for decking. So I've got things in grid view here, but perhaps if I'm looking for something like decking, I'm more interested in the type, the length, the width, the thickness, the material. Depending on the type of product could depend entirely on the view that you give them, because certain attributes will be more key than just potentially an image or price. We have clients that kind of play around with the sort orders. So things like price low to high. A very famous UK retailer here. Search for dress, sort by price low to high. You get greeting cards. Simply because they're attributed as dresses, the site search engine doesn't know any different. So that's what we've got there. If we go high to low, the first item there is a gift card. Again, for exactly the same reason. It's been attributed with that keyword. So we're not really giving relevant products. So use kind of these price sorts with a bit of caution. The number of products on the line. So an example here from Bowden. So we start off with this view. We've got 3, 6 on a line. We see another half. We don't see any product descriptions. We don't see any price. We don't see any ratings. We don't see anything to do with material. We start to move along. We've got 5 in a row. We now start to see a bit of price information. You can just see a bit of rating information below the fold. When I bring it to 4, I'm now seeing more of the lifestyle shots. I can see the products a bit better. And I can then go right down to list view. I'm now only seeing 1 product above the fold, but I'm seeing a whole host of other things. I'm seeing swatch information. I'm seeing all descriptions about what the product does. So again, depending on that view, depending on what your customers are looking for, you can have a wildly different effect on the conversion rates that you've got. Social elements, yeah, we've got one client here. So as I hover into the product, I can I can tweet about this. I can put this to Facebook. We have a convention called SLI Connect every year where we invite all of our customers to come together and talk about site search. And we had a panel and we asked one guy, was asked what his e-commerce social strategy was. He said, we don't sell to 14-year-old girls, so we don't have a social media strategy. There may be an element of truth in that, but you know, if you do sell to that age range, this can be potentially very important. Media elements, we know that people that watch videos spend more. They spend more time on your site, they do their research on your site, they do kind of the due diligence, and you become the expert. They're more likely to buy from you if you include elements like this. Non-product content is becoming very popular. A little difficult to see here, but this is eyes, lips and face. So I've done a search for lipstick. So we want to bring products back to them here. But we can also see where in that product set, well, where have these been featured in certain magazines? Where are these products? Where do we have videos? Social media, so I can bring all my Twitter and Facebook posts. These guys do sell to 14-year-old girls, so this is highly relevant to them. And we've also got blog posts and that type of thing. We can, at SLI, we're finding Instagram and including that within the search results is becoming very popular. So think about including that as well. If you have that database of relevant content, then think about including that in your search results. We have learning recommendations, so we have all of the normal things, so bought, also bought, viewed, then bought, that type of thing. These are all really straightforward, but we can if we've got the data at SLI, we can build custom strategies. So we have a client in the States, they're a jeweler. Any guys looking to pop the question to their girlfriends at the moment? Nobody ever puts their hand up. But I'll give you a bit of advice. If you are, and you're looking online for an engagement ring, this client in the engagement ring category, if you look at the price, all of the recommendations in the engagement ring category are more expensive. So if you are looking for that ring, just remember that sometimes the retailers don't always kind of have your best interests at heart. And how effective are these? So, you know, we're big on kind of return on investment at SLI. Once we test something, we need to make sure it's measurable. So we did a grid versus list view with a client. We'd gone into their offices and said, you recently present things in list view. Why is that? They kind of looked around and it's like, well, I think the designer did it. So we did this simple test, grid versus list view. Grid view spent £4.47 more, increase in revenue of about 21,000 in the month. That equates to a yearly increase of about 250,000. And this was quite a famous one within SLI, a very large client. We tested, they had things in pagination. We tested kind of the infinite scroll, the lazy scroll ahead. That increased conversion, it beat the control 99% of times, increased conversion from 1.27 to 1.32, £57,000 increase just while we're doing this test, and that equates to a £1 million A/B split test just by doing simple things on here. Site search, people who search on your site are your most valuable customers. Using very small changes on your site can help you convert them more, can help you get more revenue. So that's me, that's SLI Systems, that's some of the things we've done. If we've got time, I'm happy to answer any questions.